Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio stations, online platforms, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Welcome, welcome. It is time for Naturally Inspired Radio. Good morning, good morning. You got your coffee? Are you awake? Are you with me? Are you ready? It's a little cold here. I mean, I know I complain about the weather, but I feel like I said this yesterday, but I really do. Like, are we even old if we're not complaining about the weather? I mean, that's kind of just like we've earned it, right? We've earned it. And if we're not complaining about the weather, then you know, we got to complain about something. And so I'm complaining about the weather. It is freezing here, but the sun is out. And so that's good. The kitties are out of the barn. Oh man, were they just dying to get out? Let me tell you. Big Bruce, he's a naughty boy. Big Bruce is a big old cat. He is big. And I threw him in there with the rest of the clan. You know, there's a few of them in there. I won't disclose how many. There's a few, probably too many. Anyway, it's fine. They're fine. They're fine. They're happy in there. Anyway, I threw him in there with the rest of the clan. Usually he goes about his own way because he's the man, right? He's the man. He does what he wants. He lives in the loft. He goes wherever he wants. But I just thought, man, this is too cold, Bruce. You got to go in. And so I just kind of like lured him in there with some tuna in my hands, picked him up. Hey, hi, buddy. And then I opened the door really fast and I threw him in. And then I shut the door. And the next day I went out and who's out? But Bruce. Bruce is out. He's like, yeah, I don't do confinement, apparently. So anyway, he's fine. He's up. I mean, the sun's out. He's having a grand old time, but it is cold. It is cold here. I got a lot to talk about today. Because yesterday, we covered a lot about social media. We covered this weirdness around social media, the merger between a reality and virtual, and just like how crazy it is, right? Like we're on there's like definitely, a mental illness type of thing around that, like that super consumerism. Can you believe that we talked about it yesterday? Like Kim Kardashian has 32 storage units full of stuff. And that just like blows my mind. And then like the 500 makeup palettes or whatever that some of these influencers, $70,000 worth of crap. Like, I mean, I like to shop with the best of them. Don't get me wrong. I'm all girl here. I love shopping. I love hair. I love makeup. I love fashion and all that stuff. But like, my goodness, my goodness, it's just so like out of my realm, I guess. But like, if somebody just like, came from another planet and just like witnessed the ultra consumerism that's happening, I just think anybody with like, a little bit of common sense would be like, what is happening here? This is like too much, right? Too much. It's like warning sign that the culture is like about to collapse or something with this kind of gluttony. Anyway, so we kind of like talked about that yesterday. And then today I'm like, we really need to talk more about the mental health issue. Because I'm a little concerned that like one thing is going to get blamed for like all of it, because that's what we tend to do. We tend to look for like, oh, that's wrong. Let's fix that. Simple solutions. Everybody wants simple solutions, sure, but turns out life is more nuanced than that. And there's a lot of factors going into this really important topic of mental health. So it keeps kind of coming up in the national conversation in MAHA, mental health. And Florida, I see, is addressing some of the poison in their food, independently testing some candy and whatnot, and finding arsenic in it. Like, we should be very upset about this. We live in the United States of America, and you think you walk into a grocery store, all the food's got to be safe, right? Because we have like an FDA, and we have CDC, we have all these like this infrastructure that we feel like for years protected us. Turns out it never really did. It was kind of all a facade, and it was more about collecting fees and this collusion of corruption. More, that was more important. It was like a mechanism to like get people rich. It didn't really have a whole lot to do with what was good for us. So anyway, the mental health stuff. I want to start this off with this discussion that Bobby Kennedy had weeks ago, I believe, with Sean Hannity. He brings up some good points here. Take a listen.
40% of our teenagers struggle with anxiety now and depression.
There are studies coming out of Stanford and Harvard that show a lot of mental illness, including anxiety and depression, are related to food. And that changing your diet, food is medicine. By changing your diet, you can lose some of those diagnoses. And this, Sean, is a uniquely American problem. This is not happening like it is here elsewhere in the world. When my uncle was president, 3% of Americans were obese. As you pointed out, it's now close to 80% of adults, 50% of children. But in Japan, it's still 3%.
Men in
Because they don't eat
Japan,
this.
correct me if I'm wrong, don't they live on average 10 years longer than men here?
Yeah, and this generation of our kids is the first generation in 200 years that is going to have a shorter lifespan than their parents.
Scary.
We are letting down these kids, and there's a moral issue here, and we need to start grappling with it because it's a moral issue, it's a financial issue. The healthcare costs are going to sink us, and the only way that we're going to solve it is by changing what we eat.
So I would add in there, really, this is a cultural issue. And you know me, I'm always talking about culture because that's where change comes from, is a shift in culture. And how do we shift culture? I think with awareness. With awareness, right? So we have to be really careful. Really careful. We have so many weird things going on in our culture right now. It's like we have to be so careful about diagnosing, right? We have this like really weird epidemic of like self-diagnosing and then like affirmation for having a diagnosis. And so then that because we get affirmed of these diagnoses, then it becomes part of becomes part of the identity. And the identity is then played out on the public stage of social media, which kind of like close this circle. Like, I don't want to lose my diagnosis because my diagnosis is my identity, and my identity gets attention, and attention has value in the social virtual realm. So we got to be really careful about diagnosing things. And honestly, I don't think they even diagnose things properly. I really don't think they slap a diagnosis on somebody and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, and it's like, it's debilitating, especially to young people, because it becomes their crutch in life. And I know, if like the woke people are listening to me right now, they're freaking out because how dare you? Listen, I'm not saying there isn't a problem. I'm not saying that, people don't have problems, right? Remember what we talked about yesterday about like our problem, a big part of our problems are thinking that we shouldn't have problems. I think that's at play here. There's a whole generation, I think, of people who, because they consume so much social media that's so perfect and so curated and all of that stuff, that they think, oh, I've got problems and I shouldn't have these problems because these people don't have these problems. When I look on the portal and I see the curated, lovely life and, they don't have problems. That's the image when everybody has problems, right? And there's an added thing there with the diagnoses as well, is that there's just this kind of like incessant pursuit to be special. Like, you're already special. You're a human being. You're unique. You come from, a unique set of genes from your parents. You have a backstory. You have history. Like, you don't need any more. But yet there's this pursuit to like identify with something more special. And I would even put this this other layer of like new age stuff into that as well. So if it isn't an identity with a diagnosis, then maybe it's an identity with some kind of like new age empath type stuff for, psychic ability or that type of thing. Anything to differentiate and feel and be able to identify in a special category. And so I think we have to be really careful about diagnoses. We have a lot of variables to look at that can really explain behavior. I mean, if you are looking at this perfect curated social media world every day, 11 hours a day, or whatever the metric is now, it's a lot where people are spending on time online. If you're looking at all day, every day, hey, that's your norm. Just like if you were, living in a neighborhood, with the people around you, the cars they're driving, the house you're living in, the clothes you're wearing, that becomes your norm. So I don't know that we need medical diagnosis for all of these mental health issues. In fact, I think we don't need diagnoses. Diagnoses equals prescriptions, medications. Let's take a little more time and identify the cause here. Stay tuned, everybody. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. We'll be right back.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturallyinspiredradio.com/collagen.
Support our show and our message. Follow us at Tammy Cuthbert G. That's on X. And Naturally I Radio. Is that right, Jason? At Naturally I Radio on X. Is that the right one? Yes, it is. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I don't control all of our social media accounts. So let me tell you, Jason does a lot online. He does a lot online. We cannot do this. Just one of us. We work together on this thing, so I don't even know that handle, but my personal one is there at Tammy Cuthbert G, and then at Naturally I Radio. Jason controls that one, but it's all the same. We're the same at this point. Everything is the same. Anyway, follow us because it helps us support the message, helps us get this information out to more people, and we're so grateful that you do that. Leave us a comment, like us, follow us, all that stuff. All right, let's get back to this conversation because I think it's really important. Social media being and the digital revolution, of technology being one variable, just one variable of this mental health epidemic that we're facing. It is one variable. We got a lot of other things to look at. Okay, so we have social media and just using so much technology that's shaping brains, shaping neural pathways, shaping thinking patterns. Gosh, it goes even further than that because this much blue light exposure and, even things like 5G, right? Like the frequency, it affects our biology, including our gut microbiome. So you can see this gets very layered. I was listening to a new podcast, the Diary of the CEO podcast, a new one dropped with a Professor Tim Spector, who is like one of these microbiome doctors. And I brought a couple clips for you for your review. Check this one out. Your mood, what you eat. Oh yeah. Totally impacts how you feel. Take a listen.
We have this vagus nerve that goes from our gut to our brain, the longest nerve in the body, and 80% of the signals go gut to brain. Only 20% go brain to gut. So all these things together have just made me realize how important what going into our gut is, our diet is, and how that influences many things in our brain that I didn't put together before. And I don't think most of the medical world have put together before. And we've all put the brain on a pedestal, I should say. You know, we think it's this unique thing that's driving our bodies, but actually it's not. It's just responding to them, just like any other organ.
It made me reflect on the days that I've had like good and bad moods and how much it's linked to my diet in the preceding couple of days. Like how I feel. Sleep is such a big exacerbating factor in how I feel. But if I'm slept and I still don't feel good, it's typically linked, I think, to something I've been eating or something I've eaten very recently, maybe in the last 24 hours. So when you talk about how there's this holistic picture and how my brain might be, I can't remember the words you used, but it sounded like you said, my brain is receiving signals from other parts of my body and it's kind of malfunctioning based on those signals, which is causing depression, anxiety, bad moods, whatever. That I think is really interesting because people think of mood as a separate thing. We don't think of mood connected to my gut.
No, it's your own fault. You're in a bad mood. Why are you in a bad mood?
Something happened.
Yeah.
Externally. So someone cut you off in traffic or whatever it might be.
All these studies, we've got 4 studies now where we're changing people's diets and they've been on generally bad diets, we're moving to good diets. That mood and particular energy levels, the first thing they notice they're improving. And they never linked, just like you, their mood and energy levels with things like diet. It was just.
Oh, this topic really interests me because I think I was maybe like 21 or 22. I was super young when I kind of put this together. I noticed a dramatic difference in my mood and the way I felt when I ate fried foods. And I don't know if it was because I came over from Canada to the US and, the quality of food was different. I noticed that right away, that that it just tasted different. I didn't necessarily link it to quality, but I noticed the difference in taste from food from Canada to the US. And when I ate fried foods here in the US, I felt sad afterwards. And it didn't take me too long to figure that out. I was like, oh man, every time I eat said food, I actually feel like I have low mood and I feel like kind of sad. So I made that correlation quickly and I just stopped eating that food and it went away. I didn't get that feeling so much anymore. So this topic really interests me because it's more than the food making you feel bloated or, just kind of yucky. It's more than that. It's actually communication. The food you're putting into your body, you're putting into your stomach, it's feeding your gut microbiome. And that gut microbiome sends off signaling to your brain. Now, I always talk about the vagus nerve, which I know it feels like I talk about it too much. I mean, I think some people are like, oh, geez, be quiet about the vagus nerve already. Who cares? But no, please do not underestimate the vagus nerve because this is a direct way. It's like an antenna that's running through your body. And when it is exercised, like when it is hydrated, when it is exercised, like you sing and you hum and you bring that vagus nerve because it runs all the way down, right? When you're using it, then it expresses, it works. But when you are stressed and you're really tight, sometimes people feel that tightness in their throat and in their chest. That tightening of the vagus nerve, it stops the communication. It literally buckles down and it stops the communication and creates congestion. And so you're not using that to calm your nervous system. It's such a big part of your nervous system. To not have access to your vagus nerve expressively and to keep things flowing, you're putting your health at risk. Like, we are synergistic beings. It's not compartmentalized health. It's not just gut health. It's not just brain health. I love that he said this here, that we put the brain up on a pedestal. Like, oh, it's my brain. The brain is up here and everything else is kind of separate from that. Nope. No, you are. This is why I get so like excited about biology, and I find it so fascinating. Every little mechanism in your body is coming together to express you, to express your existence, who you are. And we downplay that by compartmentalizing and being like, oh, this is just like, I got a tummy ache, or, I've got a headache. We really compartmentalize. And we cannot, if we want to move forward in understanding health, we have to truly take it to heart when we say it's whole body health. That means emotional health. That means nervous system health. That means heart health. That means, gut health and the little micro gut biome ecosystem that you have inside you that controls your mood. So, yeah, as you can tell, it just fascinates me. It absolutely fascinates me. Let's go to the next clip here where they explain inflammation in the gut. Again, this is Professor Tim Spector.
As inflammation in the gut.
Yeah, that's a great example of how my view of these diseases is changing. There's really good epidemiology data now.
What's epidemiology data?
Epidemiology data is data in large populations. So you study the cause of disease by studying populations. That's essentially what epidemiology is. And what these studies have shown is that if you follow susceptible people and find out who at the end ended up with Parkinson's disease, you will see that about 90% of people who end up with Parkinson's disease had some gut problems 10 years before. And you might say, okay, well, might not be related, might be two separate things, but they've actually found the same protein changes in the brains in people with Parkinson's disease, this particular protein that gets misfolded. It's a bit equivalent to Alzheimer's, but it's a separate type of protein, alpha-synuclein, and it gets folded, and you get this characteristic thing you can see at post-mortem called a Lewy body. But it's the protein folding that's important. And if you look in the gut, not only do these people have constipation and bloating and problems 10 years before, a really sluggish intestine, but they have the same proteins that are misfolded that you can find in their gut. And they think that it takes 10 years for these proteins to go slowly up the vagus nerve into the brain, and then it causes the problem there. So this is the latest theory behind Parkinson's disease.
So interesting. So listen, I always say this, the body whispers before it screams. So like if they find these proteins in your gut and then they find them in your brain, that's proof of just how synergistic our body operates. So this communication, when you have things like GERD, when you have things like heartburn all the time, maybe you deal with constipation or diarrhea or both, signals, this is a signal, right? This is communication up to 10 years. So they can, this is so fascinating to me. I don't think it's just isolated to Parkinson's. I actually think it's prevalent in many different diagnoses. For example, like my mom ended up dying of cancer, and she had a lot of signaling, and we just didn't know how to interpret it. Right, way back then in 2009, I didn't know half of what I know now. And, she had heartburn, she had psoriasis. Those were all signals of inflammation, gut issues. Moral of the story is this, right? Listen to your body and respond accordingly to root cause, not to cover up. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. This is Naturally Inspired Radio.
Did you know 80% of beef consumed in the U.S. comes from 4 major corporations, much of it being imported or processed with additives? Want real beef from a real farm? Pumpkin Creek Ranch does things the right way. Local, grass-fed, dry-aged beef with no additives, no shortcuts, just honest quality.
Pumpkin Creek Ranch beef is the real deal. I love knowing exactly where my meat comes from. No additives, no nonsense, just honest quality beef.
Best beef I've ever had. You can taste the difference. Rich, tender, and packed with real flavor. Plus, supporting a local ranch makes it even better.
From pasture to plate, they raise their cattle with care, so you can get rich, natural flavor that only real ranching can provide. Stock your freezer with premium beef you can trust. Visit pumpkincreekranchco.com or call 970-658-0176.
Welcome back. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. I'm Tammy Cuthbert-Garcia. I'm so glad you're joining me today. I want to invite you, if you would, you can get a free shipping right now for new members. So if you've been thinking, I need to stock up on wellness products, things like enzymes, things like antioxidants, maybe some cellular reset, which is, highly potent polyphenols, which I love and talk about all the time. And then, of course, one of my favorite products is the collagen, which nobody can beat, hands down. I absolutely love that collagen. It does wonders for so many different things. And I hear from you all the time that it's helping you. So any one of these products, you can purchase them at naturallyinspiredstore.com. And I am inviting you to enjoy free shipping right now. So until January 31st, I am covering your shipping for you. So head on over to naturallyinspiredstore.com today. Place your order. Don't miss out. We have so many buy one, get one free products still available, over 25. And then, of course, some of my favorite hero products like the Cellular Reset, which is the polyphenols, the Vivix polyphenols, and the BioCell liquid collagen as well. Take advantage of it today. Only till January 31st, naturallyinspiredstore.com. So, many different variables here that we're dealing with when it comes to mental health. We talked about technology. Not only is technology shaping neural pathways and shaping thinking patterns, and weaponizing ego. And I could go on and on about that. I won't, but I normally do. So there's that. And then we are dealing with food, right? The actual communication. Food is communication. And it's communicating to our gut microbiome, whether this is creating a healthy mood or not so healthy mood. And so imagine, we have so many shifts, paradigm shifts in our thinking that need to happen around health. We only think of gut health when we have a stomach ache. Are we nauseous? That's gut health. To most people, they're like, well, I don't have a stomach ache. We're not thinking of it in terms of mental health. Imagine if the questions that we started asking went something more like this. I've noticed my mood's been down. I haven't been myself lately. What have I been eating? Right? What am I putting into my body that could be impacting me? And I'm feeling this way. Young people especially do not even think this way, right? It's like, there's something wrong with me. I'm just depressed, or, things are happening to me. It's my circumstances. That's what's causing me depression. Well, maybe it's a little bit of all those things, but I'll tell you what, if you can correct the diet, if you can correct the inflammation that's occurring in the gut, then we can really deal with what else is happening, But without correcting that, we just don't know. We're guessing. Like, we have to start with an understanding of foundation of health, and it starts with lifestyle. What are you putting into your body every day? Is it high carbohydrate? Is it seed oils that are highly oxidative? Like, are you exposed to chemicals? That's the other variable I want to talk about, right? Technology is a variable. What we're eating, food is a variable. Toxicity environmentally. So, like, what is in our environment that we're exposed to every day? There are so many things, especially I feel like young people love all like the body sprays and the candles, and they want to smell great, with the different perfumes and room sprays, car sprays, air fresheners, like all that stuff's toxic. Unless you are purposefully and mindfully picking products to put into your house, like cleaning, personal care items that are clean and non-toxic, then I guarantee you they're toxic. Because phthalates, that's what they use to stick scent and fragrance into products. So like your detergents, all of everything, all of that stuff. If it smells fantastic, your candles, all that, these really smelly candles. I have to laugh because my son went into somebody's apartment the other day, and he was there for a while. And then when he came home, he had his coat on the bed, and I walked into his room and I smelled it. You actually get desensitized to it when you're around it all the time. But when you're not around it and then you smell it, it's like a wall of fragrance. Like, I've been noticing, I don't know if they've upped the level of toxicity on some of these products lately, because I've noticed it like even out on a hiking trail, someone will pass me and I can smell their Tide. I don't recall that being the case. It's very potent stuff. So even, he spent some time in an apartment, there was some candles going and scent in there, and his jacket just reeked of it. As soon as I walked into his room, it was like, phew. That's how potent it is. Those are endocrine disruptors. So they don't mix well with your hormones. In other words, they cause hormone disruption. And so that also has an impact on your gut microbiome. So like, there's so many variables here. We're exposed to so much toxicity. So there's environmental toxicity in the case of like the products that we have in our homes and whatnot. Then there's what they're spraying in the sky that we're breathing in every day. Then on top of that, we have to talk about injections. We have to talk about pharmaceuticals. There's so many daily drugs that we don't consider, being unsafe or doing any harm to our health. Things like over-the-counter pain reliever destroys your gut microbiome. Antibiotics destroy your gut microbiome. Now, I'm not saying there isn't a place for antibiotics. That's not what I'm saying here. But we've definitely come off of, I think we're getting better right now, but we're coming off a culture of overuse of antibiotics. And we're still living that, right? We are all still living that. I think it's only been maybe in the last 7, 8 years that I've actually heard medical doctors now saying, okay, take your antibiotics and then repopulate your gut. You're going to need a probiotic after this. This is starting to become, I think, standard of care, but it certainly wasn't when we were kids, not when I was a kid, and not even when I was raising my kids who were in their 20s, early 20s. So this is new. Right? But so slowly, do you know how long it takes though? It takes 17 years. This is what the data tells us. From the time that we recognize something in the medical community, Like, oh, you should be taking probiotics after antibiotics to repopulate your gut microbiome, right? That's a discovery. Okay, great. You know how long that has taken to get into action? 17 years. It takes 17 years to implement a, quote, new discovery into the health care system, which is a disease care system, really, right? That's how long it takes. I don't know about you, but I don't want to wait 17 years when we know now that you can get signaling from your body 10 years before a diagnosis of Parkinson's. So 10 years before, your body starts signaling to you through stomach, gastrointestinal issues, things like constipation, things like, gastrointestinal disruption, heartburn, GERD, all those things. It's signaling to you, problem, inflammation, problem. We're taught to just cover it up instead of seek to understand what's causing the problem. And I guarantee you, in this world, if you're eating a standard American diet, that's the cause of your problem. That's the cause of your problem. If you've taken a bunch of antibiotics throughout your course of your childhood, your life, you've been on a few prescription medications from time to time, you eat the standard American diet, you're exposed to blue light daily, you don't get outside enough, you don't, your sleep's disrupted. I mean, you're using chemicals in your house. I guarantee you, a few shifts in lifestyle, clean up your house, right? Who cares what kind of detergent you use on your clothes, right? It's not worth putting your health at risk for some smelly detergent, right? So clean up all of the stuff that you can. So the cleaning products that you use in your house, your dishwasher stuff, your laundry stuff, what you're putting on your skin is your biggest organ. It absorbs everything. So you have to be mindful of that. Clean up your makeup, clean up everything that you possibly can in your environment. Clean up your food, right? Get away from the processed foods. And if you don't know what's in it, stay away from it, right? Whole food diet. But here's the good news. You don't got to be perfect all the time. You don't have to be perfect all the time, and you don't have to clean up every last little thing. Your body is capable of handling exposure. It's just maybe not capable of handling exposure for this long, in this quantity, right? Because through our lifetime, it has gotten worse and worse and worse. And so it's time to kind of clean that up. So a bunch of different variables going into the mental health epidemic that we're facing. A bunch of different things. We can't just package it up neatly and act like it's this one thing, it's this one thing, it's this, it's that. I would throw another variable in there too, if you'll allow me. I know this one's not going to make very many people happy, but this whole soft parenting thing as well. This soft parenting thing where, kids don't get they don't get reprimanded like they should. They don't get prepared for the world, people. I'm not saying, some of our childhoods maybe a little too excessive on the on some of the toughness. Okay, yeah. But now we went to the extreme, right? So soft parenting, where a child doesn't experience criticism and whatnot, I believe that's a variable as well. A lot of things here. So we can't point it all on one of them. We have to be aware of kind of this lifestyle that's creating it. Stay tuned, everybody. Your naturally inspired moment is up next.
Did you know that nearly 70% of Americans struggle with their health every single day? That's why we are reaching out to health professionals and to anyone who simply has a heart for helping people. Right now, there's an opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives while building a flexible income stream for yourself. Whether you're already working in health, wellness, or just passionate about seeing people thrive, we want to connect with you and introduce you to our system. Together, we can provide real solutions that empower people to take control of their health and create lasting impact. If you've been looking for a way to combine purpose with income, this is it. Visit simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. That's simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. We look forward to working with you.
Welcome back. Listen, if you need help on your optimum health journey, I am here for it. I am here for it in the Naturally Inspired community. You can work with me for better health. Just go to naturallyinspiredstore.com. You can scroll down the page a little bit. There's kind of two ways you can get going. One, you can make a purchase with Naturally Inspired. So if there's a product you've been eyeing, you're like, I really want to try that polyphenol product, the red pills, the Vivix, the cellular reset, it's all the same thing. It's potent polyphenols. If you've been eyeing that and you think, I want to try that, if you make a purchase, that automatically gets you into the Naturally Inspired community. You can book a session with me. We can sit down and align your goals for the upcoming months to get you the results that you're really looking for. So work with me, get into the Naturally Inspired community. Of course, our Tuesday night weekly wellness workshop is tonight. So you can still get in. There is still time. naturallyinspiredstore.com. For your Naturally Inspired moment today, I heard this little line and I thought, oh, that really resonates, doesn't it? So I wanted to share it with you today. This is what the theme of our Naturally Inspired moment is for today. A man without purpose searches for pleasures. Ooh, that's good, isn't it? Given what we've been talking about yesterday, with this like overconsumption, I call it super consumerism. That's definitely in our culture here in America these days. I mean, it's like even people who we would by standards, like total house income or whatever of the American, poverty line, say, if you walk into a house like that, it's still crammed with stuff. So it's not even, the Kim Kardashians of the world who are extreme consumers, but even like poverty level, what would be considered a poverty level income for a family, their houses are still packed with stuff. There's no shortage of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So this line kind of correlates, doesn't it? A man without purpose is searching for pleasures. So for today's Naturally Inspired moment, 5 ways to tell if you're searching for pleasure or purpose. Number 1, how do you respond to discomfort? Pleasure-driven, you escape it. You scroll, you snack, you drink, you smoke, you're distracting, you're delaying. In purpose-driven environment, you ask, what is this trying to teach me? How is this going to shape me? What do I do next? Okay. Purpose doesn't eliminate discomfort. I think that's so important to understand. I think when people are feeling unfulfilled in their work, in their relationships, in whatever, I think that one of the markers is they feel discomfort, right? They're not having a good time. They're not having a good time, right? That's the simplest way to put it. And so they think something's wrong, right? Something's wrong, that I'm not supposed to be doing this or what have you. They'll interpret it that way. When in fact, purpose is hard. Following your purpose is still hard. I think when you nail down your purpose, it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. It's just this thing and you can't give up. You're just driven by it. And no matter what, you just don't want to give it up. If it's not working out, this has happened, that's happened. You're just like, I just got to keep finding a way. Just keep finding a way. And I think that's a really good marker to understand if you're purpose-driven or if you're pleasure-driven. Because when you're pleasure-driven, you escape, you scroll, you snack, you drink, you distract, no problem. And when you're purpose-driven, you're like, okay, let's just get that out of the way. What do we do next? Number 2, does it cost you something now for something better later? Very good. Pleasure-driven, if it costs too much today, you avoid it. Okay? If it's purpose-driven, you're willing to sacrifice comfort for alignment. Yeah, I think we're very much an instant gratification type of society these days. And I worry that people give up too soon. They think, oh, this isn't working. I heard, who was it? I remember. I know who it was. It was a gal who, she's got a huge following now, but she's reviews documentaries. And she's on social media and, she had all these followers, but she wasn't making any money. And she just had a breakdown. She's like, you guys, I've been doing this for 2 years. And I had to laugh because at the time, I think I was 4 years in and it still wasn't going my way. You know what I mean? Things just take time and you have to pivot. You have to pivot and you just keep going. But anyway, I thought that was funny because I think the younger generation, you just don't get anywhere great overnight. You just got to keep doing it, And if you love what you're doing and you feel on purpose, you don't really care about the results. You just got to keep finding a way. It's not like, oh, this didn't happen, so I quit. Not when you're purpose-driven. Okay. What happens when no one is watching? If you're pleasure-driven, choices depend on mood or visibility. If you're purpose-driven, choices are consistent, even in private. Even in private. Purpose shows up when applause is absent. You don't need recognition, right? You just keep going, because this is what you are drawn to. You're in alignment. If it's just for pleasure, then, it can come and go. And choices depend on that recognition, that visibility, that affirmation. Number 4, are you consuming or creating? If you're pleasure-driven, constant consumption with content, with food, with validation, with some sort of stimulation is needed. When you're purpose-driven, through creation, you're building, contributing, mentoring, producing value. Pleasure consumes energy. Purpose concentrates it. That's a good way of putting it. It actually creates energy. Purpose-driven work creates more energy. Yeah, you get tired. Yeah, you feel like, it doesn't feel perfect. But, the more you fulfill your purpose, I feel like it creates more energy within you. So, do you feel empty after the reward? That's number 5. Do you feel empty after the reward? In a pleasure-driven, if you're being driven by pleasure, short-lived relief followed by guilt, numbness, or craving more. Right? So, if you're indulging in food, if you're indulging in activities that, you're using to distract, then it's only short-term relief, right? It's distraction. And then follows guilt, and then numbness, and then craving more, and the cycle continues, right? Which is, I guess, how you get 32 storage units. Right? I mean, I just, not to pick on any one person, but like, it's an interesting thing, this whole thing for like be famous for nothing. Right? Like, we have so many influencers. Like, what do you actually do? Not an actress, really. Like, not a artist, not a singer, not a dancer, not a writer, not a, like, what is it that you actually do besides, shocking things to get attention so that you can sell to those people whose eyes are on you? That's such an interesting thing that happened. I'm not sure exactly what year that happened, but I remember it's like, well, I remember being kind of like confused by that, like what do they do? Were they in a movie? Were they like, because that's how we were used to, us Gen Xers, we're used to people being famous. They were like actresses or actors or singers, musicians, artists, writers. They wrote novels. Like, there were reasons for fame. Sports. How could I miss sports? There's reasons, you did something exceptional or exceptionally well. There's that merit-based system we come from, right? Gosh, I miss that. Am I the only one that missed like a merit-based system? We don't live on a merit-based system anymore. Now it's like the bigger the train wreck, the more attention you get, and then the more money that follows because people, are staring at you. And when people stare at you, somehow that's been quantified as value. Bizarre. We live in the bizarrest world. I tell you, it's so weird. But that's where we are right now. And hopefully we're starting to unravel that. And like, because I think it happened quickly and it was hard to recognize. Anyway, purpose-driven's where it's at, because you will continue to distract. And perhaps that's why we see people kind of like imploding as they grow fame. Maybe it wasn't really the craft, the creation of whatever it is that made them famous. It was the idea of being famous. And because being famous, I think for a lot of people is a prison. I mean, not being able to go to a store, not being able to go anywhere without like being hounded. It doesn't sound that fun, Doesn't sound very fun. So it's kind of like one of those things, like, be careful what you wish for. And if it isn't really your purpose, like your craft, then it can't be that fulfilling. It can't feel purpose-driven if it wasn't ever really about the craft, the art, the expression, the creativity, whatever that may be, architecture or whatever it is that got you attention. If it wasn't really ever about that, then I could see the need for distraction. And distraction can be overconsumption. It can be, wasting time. Just wasting time. And I don't think there's a bigger device, than the phone that wastes more time. And man, I know I am being much more cognizant of that, trying to stay on top of it, because it's hypnotic. I call it the scroll hole, because it just sucks you in, right? But the truth is, living with purpose is going to bring you the biggest reward. It's going to bring you the biggest fulfillment, and ultimately the feelings of happiness and joy, those things that everybody seems to be in pursuit of. Stay tuned. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to stay informed and inspired 24/7? Tune in to Naturally Inspired Radio anytime, anywhere. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com, or for the best mobile experience, download the Simple Radio app. Search for Naturally Inspired Radio. Save it to your favorites and click on the graphic to listen instantly. Catch live broadcasts, revisit past shows, dive into long-form podcast conversations, and discover rare, censored presentations by leading health experts. Plus, explore documentaries uncovering the hidden truths of occult and esoteric history. Stay connected, stay inspired. Naturally Inspired Radio is always at your fingertips. Tune in now. For health questions or comments, text Tammy directly at 720-303-8868. NaturallyInspiredRadio.com.
Welcome to Naturally Inspired Radio, where we expose what's broken in the healthcare system, connect you to real health solutions, and inspire you to take back control of your life. We want to help you feel empowered, informed, and free to live naturally without fear, confusion, or dependency. Download our latest book on real solutions for health at naturallyinspiredradio.com. Naturally Inspired Radio is a nationally syndicated show broadcast on over 100 radio stations, online platforms, video channels, and podcast feeds. Follow us on your favorite platform today, hit that like button, leave a comment, and engage in our special live stream chats, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com to learn more, register for our weekly giveaway, and explore past episodes. You can also connect directly with Tammy, follow her on all major social media platforms, and discover more about our featured guests and trusted radio partners. Are you looking for better health? Work with Tammy today and take the first step toward a healthier, more empowered lifestyle. Schedule your complimentary 30-minute lifestyle assessment to explore personalized guidance on nutrition, movement, toxin-free living, and natural beauty without pharma. Get started now and discover Tammy's preferred health products at naturallyinspiredstore.com or text Tammy directly 720-303-8868. Love the show and want to support the movement? Head over to naturallyinspiredradio.com and click on the support tab. There you'll find all the ways you can get involved. Join our Naturally Inspired community, become a preferred customer, attend one of our amazing live events, get your backstage pass for exclusive access, and connect to all things naturally inspired. Thank you for tuning in today. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
The information and other content provided on this radio show or in any linked materials is provided for informational purposes only, not intended and should not be construed as medical advice. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment.
Welcome back to Hour 2 of Naturally Inspired Radio. Hey, if you missed Hour 1, you got to go back and listen. We're talking about mental health today, the epidemic, especially in young people. I mean, it's really an issue, you know. It knows no boundaries. Age doesn't matter, but certainly in young people, the statistic is high. We are having some major mental health issues now. So many variables. One thing I didn't even mention was COVID. right? I mean, COVID, the uncertainty that COVID brought to us, right? And the dynamics of relationships and the way people reacted and gosh, that's a whole ball of wax in itself that has an impact on mental health. And so there's that as well. So many different variables. That's why it's so important that we don't zero in and be like, oh, it's just the food. Oh, it's just big pharma. Oh, it's just social media. No, we really have to make some changes in our lifestyle. As a country, we have to shift the culture with our actions. Right. And that means we kind of address all of those things slowly but surely. We change our actions with the mindfulness that comes about of understanding, hey, spending too much time on my phone is a real problem. Hey, eating crappy food is a real problem. Let's talk to the kids about this. That's how we truly shape culture. It's within our own actions. That way we don't rely on government to regulate. We don't rely on government to change things and then we follow them. No, we have the power to change stuff right now, today. Today, you can change, right? You can have a conversation in your office with someone who doesn't know about any of this stuff and just bring it up. Bring something up. Yeah. You ever heard that food impacts your mood? We have the power. Sometimes I think we have to do these extraordinary things, right? We have to make this big impression. We have to do this grand action to really make a difference. And if we don't have a plan to do this big thing, then why bother doing anything at all? Actually, everything ever achieved is done little bit at a time with consistent action over long periods of time. And the more people doing a little bit consistently, that's how we actually create change. That's how all change is created. So I think we just underestimate the power that we have. I have one more little thought here on the naturally inspired moment I want to share with you before we get into Americana, which is, of course, the highlight of American culture segment in the show. A man without purpose searches for pleasure. A man without purpose doesn't rest. He escapes. When purpose is absent, pleasure rushes in to fill the void, not because pleasure is evil, but because the human soul cannot live directionless. It will always attach itself to something. So purpose gives pain meaning. Pleasure numbs pain temporarily. Without purpose, pleasure becomes a coping mechanism, and comfort replaces courage. Stimulation replaces fulfillment. Distraction replaces direction. And the tragedy is this: pleasure always demands more, but never delivers enough. Purpose, on the other hand, will organize your behavior. It will anchor your discipline, make sacrifice make sense, turn suffering into growth. A purposeful man can endure hardship without bitterness. A man chasing pleasure avoids hardship and becomes fragile. This isn't about denying joy. It's about earning joy through personal alignment. So, making sure that we are purposeful and not searching for pleasure, a big part of fulfillment and overall happiness in our lives. Okay, the American culture segment today freaks me out. Gosh, is anything what we thought it was? Can we just seriously, is anything at all legitimate? Anything at all? Sometimes I think no. So for today's culture moment that I wanted to talk about, because, as I always say, there's a big movement out there right now to make people believe that America does not have a culture. That even say white people don't have culture, right? You don't have any culture. America doesn't have any culture. It's all just a mishmash of immigrants, and that is the culture. It's everybody else's culture. No. America has a very distinct culture. There are certain characteristics that define American culture. And so this is just a little moment in time where I remind you who you are, right? I remind you who you are. I remind everybody who America is. Okay? Because we've been taking a beating for a long time. So, very timely topic because of the chaos that's going on in Minnesota. Protests. Protests are very much a part of American culture. Yes, they are. I mean, we have the right to protest. This is ingrained in the fabric of American culture. Here's the thing that we didn't know, though. Okay. So I think because again, listen, we have America, right? And America is run like a business. We've discussed this, right? It's very much run like a business these days. Corporations have way too much power over our country, and it's woven into politics. If you want to shape regulation for the benefit of the business you're in, well, get into politics, right? I mean, that's global now, I think, but it's certainly true here in America. So that said, we look at our country, we're not in politics, we're citizens, we're private citizens. We look at our country through the eyes of patriotism. We love our country, we love the Constitution, we love everything, the things that America stands for, freedom, all of that stuff, right? And it's sometimes hard for us to identify what's truly going on because we carry that patriotism with us. And so when I started looking up protests, I thought, oh, what would be good to highlight is say like the 10 most important protests in America. And so when I looked up the 10 most important protests in America, I found them to be a lot of BS, okay? Including George Floyd protest. Well, if you listen to this show, I'm pretty sure, we're on to the George Floyd thing, right? Like we know that was very much funded by Open Society, George Soros. Like we had stacks of bricks up in the streets. Like this was like Black Lives Matter was a campaign. It was run by a couple of advertising agents. Yeah. So the whole thing was just orchestrated for political gain. So I right away was like, well, those are not the most important protests in my viewpoint. So let's whittle it down here. I want to know the most important true voice of the people. What protests were truly coming from the voice of the people at the time? So meaning they weren't corporate funded, right? But they were actually reflective of the population at the time. Boy, did that list change. Oh my gosh. The list totally changed. So it went from, first of all, it went from 10 that were corporate funded down to 5 that were actually truly grassroots. Okay. So let me go through the grassroots one. Okay. These were clearly grassroots protests that impacted our culture and shaped our culture in the United States of America. Number 1, American Revolution protests. These were organized by local citizens, merchants, farmers. There were no corporations, no NGOs, no centralized funding. People risked their lives and their property. This was 100% grassroots, okay? The American Revolution protests. The abolitionist movement, churches, escaped slaves, local presses, This was funded by small donations and personal sacrifice, and it was often violently opposed. But it was 100% grassroots and later gained allies. But its beginning was grassroots. The women's suffrage movement. This started with unpaid organizers. There were arrests, there were hunger strikes, there were zero corporate sponsorships. It took 70 plus years, and it was rooted in grassroots. That's, of course, women's rights, true women's rights, right? Not this fabricated feminism movement, but true women's rights. Another one was labor and early worker strikes. So factory workers, miners, railroad employees. This was over lost jobs, homes, and sometimes even lives. There were no PR firms involved in this. There were no institutional protections, nothing. This was 100% grassroots. Another one was the Bonus Army March of 1932. This was unemployed World War I veterans and families. It was self-organized, self-funded. People lived in tents. It was met with military force, but it was 100% grassroots. One of the purest examples, in fact, the Bonus Army March. Okay? Aren't you kind of surprised? I was surprised. These are the true grassroots ones. Wait till I tell you. Wait till I tell you about the corporatized, funded, institutionalized ones. You might be surprised. You might not. I mean, at this point, I think we're all on the same page when we're like, is anything legitimate? Stay tuned. This is Naturally Inspired Radio. We'll be right back.
Did you know that a single collagen supplement could support your heart health, help protect against EMF exposure, and reduce inflammation all at the same time? Our preferred foundational collagen not only supports radiant skin and joint mobility, but also promotes heart health, reduces inflammation, strengthens hair and nails, provides added protection against the effects of EMF exposure, and so much more. Our favorite collagen is super absorbable and easy to take. Just 1 tablespoon in the morning and another in the evening for maximum benefits. Here's what our listeners have to say.
This collagen is so easy to take, I've noticed a huge difference in my hair and nails after just a few weeks.
Since I started using Tammy's preferred collagen, my joints feel more flexible and my skin looks smoother.
Try it today at naturalinspiredradio.com/collagen. When you purchase from Naturally Inspired, you get access to our group health coaching call and so much more. Go to naturalinspiredradio.com/collagen.
Follow Naturally Inspired Radio on Facebook. If you would, please follow us on Facebook and share it with a friend. If you know people that are looking for real solutions for health, this is the place they need to be, Naturally Inspired Radio. So follow us there, leave us a comment, like it, share it, do all the things. It helps us. It really, really does. And it's been so difficult for us to get the word out. So any like, share, and engagement, we are so grateful for it. Naturally Inspired Radio on Facebook. All right. A couple more things that I want to share with you about this, protest situation. So those were the ones, the 5 that are legitimately grassroots. Here's some that aren't grassroots. The civil rights movement. Foundations, federal involvement, and NGOs. That's who funded the civil rights movement. Anti-Vietnam War protests. Very political. They were funded by political groups and media networks. Environmental Earth Day movement, completely funded, quickly absorbed into government and corporate ESG structures. Occupy Wall Street. That one was kind of shocking to me. no organic leadership or sustainable outcomes, barely partially grassroots started, but quickly was taken over, largely steered. So I think we all got to keep that in mind, that some of these biggest movements of protests in America have been orchestrated. And I think we're seeing more of that right now in Minnesota. But nonetheless, it is our right to protest in the United States of America, and it is woven into the fabric of this nation, and everyone should have the right to do it. I wish it was not so, it just the corporate influence and the NGOs now. I can see why people look at protests and just go, I don't want nothing to do with it. Because it's hard. It's hard to even tell where the origins are coming from. And it's most certainly, in many cases, not organic whatsoever. So keep that in mind. Yes, we have the right to protest, and we should. And it is a beautiful part of American culture. It also is susceptible to being hijacked by other entities and institutions. So keep that in mind. Let's get to the news, because there's a lot of it today and it's important stuff. I had mentioned before that there was a lawsuit against the American Academy of Pediatrics regarding the vaccine schedule. And Mary Holland, she's the leader over there at Children's Health Defense. She spoke about it, and so I wanted to share her statement with you today. Take a listen.
Day. And we are suing the American Academy under a racketeering federal statute in the D.C. District Court. And we're alleging that the American Academy of Pediatrics, which is the standard for pediatricians and for the vaccine schedule for children, we're alleging that they have been knowingly lying for decades about the safety of the entire schedule. The two top plaintiffs on our case are parents who took their young children for routine vaccinations, and these twins and another little girl, they died, Steve, right after their vaccinations. And the insult and injury of the top plaintiff, Ms. Shaw, is that she's under criminal investigation for killing her twins when, in fact, the medical establishment documented that it was vaccine injury. So this is what the lies do. When you say the schedule has been fully tested and they're safe and effective and they save lives and there's never any downside, this is what happens, is that doctors don't know how to treat vaccine injury. People don't know what it is. And literally children die from it. Two of the other plaintiffs are also pediatricians who, when they actually looked at vaccinated versus unvaccinated health outcomes, they were exiled from the profession. You can't do that, because we all know that vaccines are magic. They're not like other medicines that have pros and cons. Vaccines are safe for everybody, and they all have to follow a schedule. So we're going against that. We want them to declare that what they've said was wrong, and we want them to publish that in all of their documents so that people understand that the schedule has never been properly tested.
The schedule has never been properly tested. How many parents do you think have been, criminally prosecuted because vaccine injury isn't acknowledged? Like, I think about that in the case of thrombocytopenia. Thrombocytopenia is what happened to my kid when he was 2 from a flu shot. And it's when the blood doesn't clot and extreme bruising occurs. And I mean extreme bruising. Like, I had a 2-year-old, if I held him, it makes me want to throw up when I think about it. But my fingerprints would stay on him in bruises because there was no ability for his blood to clot. His platelet levels were so low. They were single digits. So I could see how that could be interpreted as child abuse. Thank you, Jesus, that, the medical team that we ended up encountering never accused us of anything. I mean, thank God. But I could see how that would happen. If you do not acknowledge vaccine injury whatsoever, then you're like, whoa, what happened to this kid? God, that's sickening to think about, right? It's just sickening to think about. This is woven into our culture. This vaccines don't cause any injury. Just the other day over the weekend, some show was on the TV in my kitchen, and the character in it was explaining SIDS to another character, a younger character. Yeah, we just don't know why SIDS happens. It just happens. We got no idea. Baby goes to sleep and it just doesn't wake up, and we have no idea why that happens. Talk about living lies, right? Generational lies. Is this the moment in time where this crap stops? I hope so. I truly hope so. You know, we need an open investigation. We need transparency. I'm not saying it's the cause of every child who died, you know, as a baby that slipped away in the night. I'm not saying that. I'm saying in real life, there can be multiple causes for things, you know, but we got to look at this one. We got to look at this one. And so I'm grateful that children's health events, first of all, exist and has existed for as many years as they've had. They've been through the trenches, you know, with this issue. And the American Academy of Pediatrics is going to be held accountable in this lawsuit. These little groups, first of all, you know, full disclosure, I'm not a big group person, because it always seems like they get weaponized. You know, they get infiltrated. The original premise of the group always gets messed up somehow, and it turns into something that, you know, ends up being a detriment to what it was, the original cause of it was. And that's how I see these organizations like the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Heart Association, the, Association for Alzheimer's, the, Race for the Cure for Cancer. Like, I just don't trust a single one of them anymore. I don't trust any of them. I feel like they're just a way. I feel like they're a way to launder money. I feel like that's what their primary use is. It's a way to protect the institution. And the people who fund it the most are the people who benefit from the institution. The pharmaceutical companies, the practitioners, you know, like they have a career in pediatrics. Of course, they need this organization to advocate for them. Like, this has got to get shut down. Why do these things become so incredibly powerful? Because of the money that gets donated to them. I'm not saying I know what the answer is, because we need charity, you know, but the collusion in these charities, it's what's allowed the corruption to happen. So hopefully this case goes far and it does what it's intended to do. That would be quite a development. Very, very exciting. Speaking of developments, do you follow this account on X? Let's pull up the screenshots I have here of Pelosi Tracker. Do you follow this account? This is fascinating to me. So Pelosi Tracker is an account on X, and they follow Pelosi's trades. And lo and behold, this is UnitedHealth. So as Trump is kind of pressuring health insurance companies, wouldn't you know it? The stock is tanking. Let's take a look at the other shot here of Pelosi's account, the Nancy Pelosi stock tracker. Keep an eye on this one. Representative Kevin Hern just sold off his entire $500,000 position in UnitedHealth. His note in the filing was sell to close. Hern sits on the House subcommittee on health. Oh, I think in some worlds, I'm not accusing anybody, of course, but like in some worlds, I feel like this could be allegedly considered like, what do they call it? what did Martha Stewart go to jail for? I feel like, you know, doesn't it just make you want to puke? Like, this has been going on. I mean, while we're at it, right? We're tracking down Somali fraud. Do you think maybe we could do something about the fraudulent politicians that are getting rich off of maybe some inside information, you know, and then sticking it to the private citizen, of course, every chance they get? Because your brother-in-law gave you a tip or something, you know? Gosh. The world is insane, everybody. Right there, out in the open. Don't even try to hide it. Stay tuned. More news and your health topic up next. We'll be right back.
Did you know 80% of beef consumed in the U.S. comes from 4 major corporations, much of it being imported or processed with additives? Want real beef from a real farm? Pumpkin Creek Ranch does things the right way. Local, grass-fed, dry-aged beef with no additives, no shortcuts, just honest quality.
Pumpkin Creek Ranch beef is the real deal. I love knowing exactly where my meat comes from. No additives, no nonsense, just honest quality beef.
Best beef I've ever had. You can taste the difference. Rich, tender, and packed with real flavor. Plus, supporting a local ranch makes it even better.
From pasture to plate, they raise their cattle with care, so you can get rich, natural flavor that only real ranching can provide. Stock your freezer with premium beef you can trust. Visit pumpkincreekranchco.com or call 970-658-0176.
Did you join the Naturally Inspired community? Make a purchase, hop on the weekly wellness workshops. Listen, let's touch base. I offer concierge service for all our members. So if you have questions about any other products, or if you just don't want to deal with the website, you need to reorder. Maybe you tried the collagen for the first time in December and you're starting to run out and you need to reorder, but maybe you have questions and you're not really sure. Should you continue on this formula? Should you try a different formula? That's what I do. That's what I am here for. So take advantage of the concierge service. That's just me helping you. You can book an appointment with me at naturallyinspiredstore.com. Right there on the website, you can book an appointment or just text me 720-303-8868 and I'll get you on my schedule. We'll book a time where we can sit down and go through everything. You know, a lot of people struggle with accountability when it comes to their optimum health journey. And a lot of people use my health text line for that accountability. You know, once a week, they check in with me. Hey, this is where I'm at. I've lost this amount of weight, or this is how I feel. My sleep is getting better. It's a way to track yourself. And then, of course, I offer more solutions, or I'll offer, you know, accountability, pivoting. If you need inspiration, that's what I do on my health text line also. So keep that in mind. I want to hear from you. If you don't have my number, make sure you have it in your phone, 720-303-8868. That is the health text line. Book an appointment with me if you would like to sit and chat about the products you're using. I offer concierge service. So naturallyinspiredstore.com, 720-303-8868. This next story, I'm all about this next story because this, I think, is so exciting when it comes to, it's old technology. I don't know if you wouldn't even want to call it technology. It's old technology that we need to start recognizing, okay? And it is frequency. So I want to share this little introductory clip with you first, and then we'll talk about it. Watch this.
Our bodies are electromagnetic phenomena. We've got electrolytes and our nerves are functioning like that, the blood, everything. Electrolytes in our blood, carrying electrical impulses. Our heart is we have electromagnetic pulse. Brain Everything's got that. When the heart's operating functionally, the rhythm is and we like to keep the rhythm what we call normal sinus rhythm. That means the electrical impulse starts in a particular part of the heart and is carried down, which stimulates the pump. If that electrical pattern gets off and the heart starts going, you won't be alive. And if it slows down, you won't be alive. So the heart is functional at a specific electromagnetic frequency, set of frequencies. So now, here we are, being bombarded with electromagnetic frequencies. When electromagnetic frequencies are in a certain pattern, so that they have a function, they're functional, they're said to be coherent or harmonic. Incoherent means that you've got waves that are peak. They have their troughs and peaks at different functions. They become incoherent and they don't function. So you can send in an incoherent message into a waveform and break up and lose the transmission. And that's what happens. We're being bombarded with electromagnetic frequencies of all different, from microwaves to all sorts of frequencies that are continually requiring our bodies to compensate, to maintain coherence, and to maintain, thereby to maintain functionality.
Years ago from Bruce Lipton, Dr. Bruce Lipton, I think it was, about coherence, right? This idea of frequency and coherence, right? So we have the ability, this is why I harp on things like the vagus nerve, because it helps you master your nervous system. And when you master your nervous system, you can kind of control your vibes. You control your vibes, you control your frequency, because all your different emotions have a different frequency. And when you are, in the frequency of joy or happiness or love, this is a very, stable, coherent frequency. When we are experiencing feelings of fear or anger or, insecurity, these types of feelings, it's incoherent vibes. It's very incoherent. And so we have to understand this layer of communication that we have at our fingertips. We don't necessarily acknowledge it because, there's a lot of reasons I think they don't acknowledge it. We won't get into that. But the other thing I thought about with this is, like, recently we heard reports, and they're kind of confirmed yet unconfirmed, that, when they did this attack in Venezuela, that many of the people were incoherent. That the weapon technology caused them to lose coherence of their body. So let me just tell you, there are people, powerful people, that completely, totally, 100% understand this, that you are a frequency being. They absolutely understand it. And so we need to understand it, though, because we'll have much more control over our biology when we understand that we can live in coherence based on our feelings. This is an incredible little clip. And there was a lot of these. I could have pulled this one, kind of sparked my inspiration for this particular story today on frequency. But you can get online or get on YouTube, look at cymatics, right? So interesting. Frequency. So anyway, check this little clip out. It's fascinating. Now you think, why does that work on a baby, right? Why does that work on a baby? Baby's got no baggage. Baby doesn't question, is this frequency soothing me? Baby just operates as babies will, right? They don't judge anything. They don't have, they don't contemplate what's happening. The innate instincts kick in. And that's soothing to the baby. It's in coherence. It's bringing the baby into coherence with the frequency. Now, other ways you can witness this is animals do this. So through humming, through panting, moaning, this is a way to trigger your own vagus nerve for soothing. And of course, sound therapy is very, very therapeutic. And it can really have an impact on you. I'm just thinking of like several people that I know who have had like really profound experiences through sound bathing and use it as a modality for their health. So frequency. I interviewed Dr. Leonard Horowitz many years ago, and I never posted the interview because it was just a very he was just going through a lot at that time. And so I didn't post the interview, but you can definitely check out his work because he's probably the godfather kind of this in our generation, studying frequency and its impact on us as at a cellular level, how different organs resonate with different frequency. This is I think why things like the Rife machine should be more investigated. This has been around for a long time, but these types of ancient technologies, they're very much suppressed. You got to do your own research on them. But they are powerful, and you can go into the NIH website and research frequency and research some of these, what is it? The hertz. So if you want to go in and actually research the different hertz, the wattages that impact the body in different ways, it's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. There was another clip that I viewed while watching this with water, and maybe you can even try this at home. There was a bowl of water, and people were touching the side of the bowl, and the reflection, because it was in the sunlight, was reflecting off of the wall, and without any human contact, the water was just a white reflection on the wall. And just with the slightest bit of human contact to the side of the bowl, patterns started to form on the reflection of the water on the wall. So you could see the energy, the frequency impacting of human impacting the water, making designs, right? We've seen this in the Emoto study when it comes to, talking over water or labeling water an emotion. But I think, the Emoto study is great and a lot of people know about it, but we need to go deeper than that. That's very surface level understanding, I think, of what's possible when it comes to frequency. Just imagine like if every day you had a practice where you would set your frequency by using, words, feelings, visualization, where you actually, have control over your nervous system, where you can dial it up, dial it down based on your thoughts and your energy. Frequency is powerful, and I believe that it starts with your thoughts, and it goes out into your nervous system, and then you impact other people. You can live in coherence and almost be a magnet, or you can live in incoherence and actually repel. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Stay tuned. Your health topics up next. I want you to hear this one. We'll be right back.
Did you know that nearly 70% of Americans struggle with their health every single day? That's why we are reaching out to health professionals and to anyone who simply has a heart for helping people. Right now, there's an opportunity to make a real difference in people's lives while building a flexible income stream for yourself. Whether you're already working in health, wellness, or just passionate about seeing people thrive, we want to connect with you and introduce you to our system. Together, we can provide real solutions that empower people to take control of their health and create lasting impact. If you've been looking for a way to combine purpose with income, this is it. Visit simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. That's simplehealthincome.com or text 720-764-7448. We look forward to working with you.
Welcome back. Book your free assessment. Schedule a free assessment with me at naturallyinspiredstore.com. That's naturallyinspiredstore.com. You just got to scroll down the page a little bit. It'll say book your free assessment, or you can text me 720-303-8868. We can get something on the schedule. Have a little sit down and let's get a plan together for your optimum health journey. Okay, so for today's health topic, okay. This is something that's been on my mind for a little while now, and I need to talk to you about it. I don't want people to get offended. I don't want you to be offended. I don't want you to feel like, oh, you know, there's shame around this. Listen, I don't think people fully understand the power that you have with your lifestyle choices. I mean, the power that you have with the choices you make every day determines your health outcomes. And I still think that some people think that, you know, I can just do a little bit and you know, this doesn't matter or that doesn't matter. It's just a handful of M&Ms. It's just this, it's just that. It's not very much. It's a little bit. I'm here to tell you that if you truly want results, you've got to lock in. You've got to lock in, because you won't get results when you half do anything. You won't. And I want you to get the results that you want. So, you've got to make a commitment to what you're doing if you truly want the results that I know that you want. So here are 7 reasons you won't get results if you half do anything. Like if you're half doing keto, if you're half doing low carb, if you're half doing the Mediterranean or whatever. My recommendation is high protein, high fat, low carbohydrate, no processed foods, low sugar diet. That's my recommendation. Now, if you want to go off and do something else, that's entirely up to you. Of course, I'll support you the best I can. But this is how I know. This is how I know to get results. And this is how I know to make a big impact on your metabolic health. Okay? So here's why. Okay? Here's why you got to get dialed in. Especially when you're starting out. Like if you're starting out and you have things going on, like you have high inflammation. Listen, like we talked about earlier in the show, we talked about the signals, right? Like the gut inflammation, the gut microbiome, the heartburn, all of that stuff. That's a communication. that starts happening up to 10 years before someone receives a diagnosis like Parkinson's or something else. You got to get dialed in. Nobody's going to tell you that, okay? You go to your doctor, they're like, oh, just take some pills, oh yeah, just do a little bit of this and a little bit of that. No, I'm being straight up with you. You've got to dial it in. You've got to dial it in. If you have these communications coming from your body, you've got to dial it in, okay? So the foundation is high protein diet, right? 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Healthy fats, avocado, walnuts, olive oil, avocado oil, sardines. You can do I know not everybody likes sardines. It's just one that came to my mind. Listen, if you need a list, text me, 720-303-8868. I'm here for it. Your hormones do not respond to sometimes. Okay? Oh, I have a little avocado toast in the morning, but I've increased my protein. It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. Your hormones don't respond to sometimes. When you eat bread, when you eat crackers, when you eat high carbohydrate, refined carbohydrates, your glucose spikes. Okay? You're not going to get the results you're after. Insulin, leptin, ghrelin, and cortisol respond to patterns, not intentions. Okay? Not to sometimes. We are recalibrating hormones here for better metabolic function. And they do not respond to your intentions, your try, your I try to, I mostly. I'm sorry, they don't. Half doing a diet keeps hormones confused, actually. Never fully switching, never fully turning on a healing switch. Consistency is what tells the body, this is safe. I'm adapting now. That's why I say, you're recalibrating. You're recalibrating. So when you're sending mixed messaging, it doesn't work. It does not work. Number 2, you never become fat adapted. So if you're on a keto or a low carb diet, results come after there's a metabolic shift, not before it. So if you keep cheating, if you keep having this, little bit of toast, little bit, your body stays stuck. It never learns to burn fuel efficiently. And you end up just tired, cranky, and then you blame the lifestyle. Oh, it didn't work for me. You need consistency. Number 3, you'll create constant cravings. So half committing to something keeps dopamine spikes alive. Sugar here, carbs there, cravings never die. Willpower gets blamed. Full commitment reduces cravings. Partial commitment actually feeds your cravings. So once you're eating healthy amounts of protein and healthy amounts of fat, you don't struggle with cravings. Understand that in the beginning, you may struggle with cravings. And listen, if you're craving sugar, you need more salt, right? If you're craving carbohydrates, you need more fat. You got to make sure you're getting adequate amounts of protein, adequate amounts of fat. And if you're really struggling with cravings, something's off there, right? Because again, this is a brain issue, right? We're talking about hormones here. Insulin, leptin, ghrelin. We have to respond to them properly. We can't override them. We can't squash them with willpower. It's like squashing your heartbeat. You can't do it. You've got to respond to them with the right communication, which is the right food. Inflammation never comes down when you go back and forth. So many diets work because they remove inflammatory foods, and you remove them long enough for healing to happen. If those foods keep sneaking back in, inflammation stays elevated, and so does that pain, that bloating, that gastrointestinal issues, or fatigue. Energy levels will stay low, and even weight. You cannot get the weight off when you're teeter-tottering back and forth. So healing requires removal plus time and adding in nutrient-dense foods, okay? You train your brain to distrust you when you don't commit fully. I'll start again tomorrow teaches your brain that your word doesn't matter, that you're not truly making a commitment to yourself. And this erodes your confidence. It erodes your self-respect. It erodes your ability to apply discipline in your own life. You don't believe that you'll do it, and your brain knows it. So commitment builds identity. Half commitment builds self-doubt and leads to things like imposter syndrome, where you don't even want to tell anybody you're getting healthier, right? You don't want to tell anybody because then they might hold you accountable, and you don't want to be embarrassed that you didn't do what you said you were going to do. And then that whole nasty shame thing happens again, which is useless. It's useless, right? Number 6, you can't assess what's actually working. So this is big when it comes to supplements, okay? Supplements need to be taken every day. You cannot take a supplement one day, not take it the next, take it again, miss 2 days, go on a week of vacation, come back, start again, and then say, oh, that didn't work. I'm going to go back to the visualization that I always use. Okay, so in pharmaceutical land, we take pills, has an impact right away, right? If we have pain, we take a pain medication, it removes pain because it covers it up. It doesn't actually heal the body, right? It just covers up the pain. It kills the pain receptors, if you will. Okay? Healing is something we're actually not used to. We're not used to healing. We're used to disease management. In the case of healing, all dis-ease comes from deficiency. And so when we have dis-ease, when we have deficiency, we essentially have a hole, right? We have a 6-foot hole, say, of deficiency. And every time we take our supplements, we put a shovelful of dirt in that hole. Keep taking them, fill the hole, fill the hole, fill the hole. Now, the thing is, we don't really know how deep the hole is. We don't really know. It's been going on for years. The hole's pretty deep. Been going on for months. Maybe it's not as deep. But nonetheless, there's a hole. And so every time we're consistent with our supplementation, every time we're consistent with our movement, every time we're consistent with our food, and we don't, let things sneak in there that shouldn't, we get more dirt in the hole and it starts to fill up. And that is true healing. But it sometimes isn't recognizable because our brains are trained with the pharmaceutical model. So we think, with pharmaceuticals, we can be scared into taking that, like, oh my gosh, if I don't take that, I might have a heart attack. This might happen. Like, ooh, there's fear based there, right? With supplementation, we don't have that fear. But I'm saying we should have fear's not good, but we should have the same level of commitment to our supplementation because consistency is true healing in this area, that we're filling the deficiency. Okay, so very, very important. You can't just on and off, on and off. I especially see that with collagen. I think, what I recommend is 1 tablespoon of collagen in the morning, 1 in the evening if you're starting on a 2-dose protocol. If you're starting on a 1-dose protocol, you got to take it every day, right? Depending on your level of need, the level of deficiency, and the kind of results you want to get too. Like, what's my goal with this? Do I want this to go quickly, or am I okay to build it up slowly over time? That's why when you use supplementation and nutrition, you've got to have a goal with it. So, can't assess what's actually working if you're not consistent. You expect transformation without structure, but results come from alignment. 80 to 90% commitment all the time. You don't need to be extreme, but you do need to be decisive. Thanks for joining me, everybody. This has been Naturally Inspired Radio. We'll be back tomorrow.
Are you ready to stay informed and inspired 24/7? Tune in to Naturally Inspired Radio anytime, anywhere. Visit naturallyinspiredradio.com, or for the best mobile experience, download the Simple Radio app. Search for Naturally Inspired Radio. Save it to your favorites, and click on the graphic to listen instantly. Catch live broadcasts, revisit past shows, dive into long-form podcast conversations, and discover rare, censored presentations by leading health experts. Plus, explore documentaries uncovering the hidden truths of occult and esoteric history. Stay connected, stay inspired. Naturally Inspired Radio is always at your fingertips. Tune in now. For health questions or comments, text Tammy directly at 720-303-8868. naturallyinspiredradio.com.